As a babysitter, Emily had always loved working with kids. She enjoyed playing games with them, reading them stories, and making them laugh. So when the Johnson family asked her to babysit their two young children on a Saturday night, she didn't hesitate to say yes. When Emily arrived at the Johnsons' house, she was greeted by Mrs. Johnson, who introduced her to the children, 8-year-old Sarah and 6-year-old Jack. They seemed like sweet kids, so Emily didn't anticipate any problems. Mrs. Johnson left her phone number in case of emergency and quickly departed with her husband. Emily started playing games with the kids, and everything went smoothly for the first hour or so. However, things began to take a strange turn when Sarah asked Emily if she wanted to play a game of hide and seek. Emily agreed, and Sarah counted while Emily hid. As Emily was hiding, she heard strange whispers coming from the darkness. She assumed it was just Sarah and Jack trying to scare her, so she ignored it and continued hiding. When she came out of her hiding spot, she couldn't find the kids anywhere. She searched the entire house but couldn't locate them. She called out their names, but there was no response. As she continued to search, she began to feel a sense of unease, as if someone was watching her. Just as she was about to give up, she heard a faint giggle coming from upstairs. She rushed up the stairs and found the children sitting in the dark, giggling uncontrollably. Emily was relieved to have found them, but something still didn't feel right. As the night wore on, strange things continued to happen. Doors would open and close on their own, objects would move without explanation, and Emily would hear strange whispers coming from the darkness. At one point, Jack started talking to someone who wasn't there. When Emily asked him who he was talking to, he said it was his imaginary friend, Mr. Smiles. Emily thought it was a little odd, but assumed it was just a normal childhood phase. However, things only got worse from there. Emily began to see shadowy figures moving in the corner of her eye, and strange symbols began to appear on the walls of the house. She started to feel as if she was being watched all the time, even when she was alone. As the night wore on, Emily became more and more scared. She tried to call Mrs. Johnson, but her phone was dead. She thought about leaving, but she didn't want to leave the children alone in the house. Finally, at around 2 a.m., she heard a loud banging coming from the basement. She cautiously made her way down the stairs and found a door that she had never noticed before. It was slightly ajar, and she could hear strange chanting coming from within. As she pushed the door open, she was horrified by what she saw. The Johnsons, along with a group of other people, were performing a ritual involving Sarah and Jack. They were chanting in a language she didn't understand, and there were strange symbols drawn on the floor. Emily quickly grabbed the children and ran out of the house as fast as she could. She called the police and waited outside for them to arrive. The Johnsons were arrested and charged with child endangerment, and Emily never babysat again. She was traumatized by the experience and couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her, even when she was alone. She couldn't forget the strange symbols, the chanting, and the feeling of being trapped in a nightmare. From that day on, she knew that there was evil in the world, and that it could come in many forms.